So if you're a seven-figure business owner and you've got outstanding tax debts, unmet lodgement deadlines, and I want to give you a bit of a crash course of how you need to approach this to ensure that you don't get in hot water with the ATO. The ATO is certainly cramping down on this, and they are actively pursuing bigger business owners, 7 and 8 figure business owners that have significant tax debt and aren't meeting their deadlines and obligations. This is critically important. So even if you're not quite in tax debt, this is probably something that you need to keep up your sleeve just in case you do land yourself in hot water in the future. So let's get stuck into it. So guys, as you know, we work with our clients in 3 ways. We help them with strategic tax planning and making sure that they've got the right accounting and tax advice to ensure that they have total financial control. Second, we help our clients maximize their profit, their cash flow, and their business's value so they can ultimately extract more financial resource from their business in order to create financial freedom outside of the business. And thirdly, we help them with a strategic wealth plan in order to get them in a position where they can create financial freedom faster. And one of the biggest things that we see with business owners, particularly those that are over 7 figures, is that they don't have a deep understanding of their financial model in their business. They often go too hard in terms of growing and scaling, allocating too much resource into growth without understanding that financial model. And that typically involves hiring more people, taking on big contracts, and ultimately not understanding the cash conversion cycle associated with that contract before they engage. And as a result, they end up running the gauntlet. They don't have the cash flow available in order to meet their tax deadlines and obligations. They usually got a shitty accountant, and they end up compounding this tax issue, and in some cases can end up like 7 figures in tax debt. We had a business that reached out to us recently, doing multi-7 figures a year, over $1 million in tax debt, and has unmet tax deadlines that have that basically just have not been submitted. No business activity statements, no IAS, no tax returns, nothing that has been done for at least the last 12 months, and the ATO are furious. The ATO have reached out to them and basically said that they're going to enforce the director penalty notices if they do not have this sorted out within the next 2 weeks, which is pretty. Now, this particular issue was compounded by the client's accountant. They've been reaching out to the accountant saying, hey, why aren't our bases lodged? What's going on? They're like, yeah, don't worry about it. It's fine. And they're basically just kicking the tin down the road. And I feel really bad for these businesses because ultimately it happens far more often than I would like to see. And it's a combination of obviously having the wrong financial strategy and also the wrong tax advice. So what should you do? Now, first and foremost, gone are the days whereby you can just ignore the ATO and expect that they're just going to leave you alone. The ATO is on an absolute warpath in order to collect unpaid tax revenue from taxpayers, particularly small business owners. They are ruthlessly handing out what's called directors' penalty notices. So as a business owner, typically when you're running a proprietary limited company, you have limited liability, meaning that in many cases, if the business goes into liquidation or is wound up for whatever reason, you have the ability to walk away and your personal assets are not going to be affected by that restructure, by that situation. However, when you're issued with the director's penalty notice, the ATO is essentially making you personally liable as the director for those liabilities, and you are now also personally liable for any penalties that they apply for finding yourself in this situation. It's really not a good thing. They can enforce you have to wind up orders for you to wind up your business. So basically, your entire business must fold. They can put in place penalties that you are not able to be a director for a period of time, some cases forever, and of course enforce fines and also hold you personally liable for any of the GST, the PAYG, the superannuation, the corporate tax entitlements that you must pay. This is the worst possible outcome that you could hope for as a business owner, okay? So how do we fix it? Well, first and foremost, you need to be proactive, guys. And proactive means a couple of things. One, you need to take ownership. At the end of the day, your accountant has very little liability because it is you that is the one that's signing on these documents, and you as the director of your business are responsible for meeting these obligations. So whether or not your accountant is a monkey and they're not submitting things on your behalf, it is your duty to ensure the deadlines are met. So what does that require? Well, one, you need to hold them to a high enough standard. 2, 2, you need to know the deadlines. And 3, if they're not meeting those deadlines and they're not holding that standard, you need to go and seek other professional advice quickly. Second thing, you need to communicate proactively with the ATO. And I don't advocate that you do this as a business owner. We've seen business owners who've tried to do the right thing, liaising with the ATO on their own, get manipulated and find themselves in an outcome with the ATO that is not great. For example, really short payment terms in order to repay tax debts, not being able to negotiate away general interest charges, other things that they've kind of got caught out saying that they didn't know was wrong and was held against them. It's just not a good situation to be in. So you want a professional in your corner. You want a great tax advisor or a tax lawyer, depending on the significance and the seriousness of your situation, to be representing you on behalf of the ATO. So once again, this requires you to have a proactive accountant or tax advisor or tax lawyer, somebody who understands your situation and is able to liaise with the ATO in order to get a particular outcome. Let me give you an example. We recently had a client that came on board that had a significant amount of tax debt, that was running a solar business. As we know, solar businesses have relatively thin margins, and the cash conversion cycle can be challenging as well. They found themselves in a little bit of cash flow trouble as they were trying to grow and scale their business. We managed to negotiate a payment plan with the ATO. One reason or another, the business defaulted on that payment plan, and it was mainly due to the cyclone event that happened in southeast Queensland recently. Our tax team was able to liaise with the ATO, renegotiate the payment plan, reinstall it, and make sure that there were no penalties associated with that. So having somebody that's in your corner that's able to have those conversations and position your case can help you get the best possible outcome. And look, I think the best part here is if you're listening to all of this and maybe you've been in tax debt before, or maybe you're in tax debt now, the idea is not to be in this situation. This situation can be avoided if you've got the right people in your corner that can help you build the right financial model for your business that ensures that you have sustainability to be able to save for your tax as you go, and ensure that when those bills fall due, there are no surprises and you can confidently pay those tax bills on time and in full. Once again, guys, the ATO is not playing around. And if you aren't certain about your financial model in your business, if you're not certain that you have these surplus cash flows in order to meet those obligations, something is fundamentally wrong with your business and we need to fix it ASAP. So this is particularly for 7-figure business owners and above. You guys are not immune to these issues. And we've seen so many businesses outgrow their financial model just because they just haven't taken the time to review it. Their business has grown and scaled, the model has changed, there's more complexity, there's more people, and for that reason it means we need to make some changes to ensure that you can sustain yourself into the future. So if you'd like to get some help, jump to the link in my bio, complete wealth health check, the financial performance scorecard. Let's have a conversation of how we can get you out of the hole, but more importantly, ensuring you don't get yourself in the hole in the first place. Catch you soon.